Good evening, guys.
Hey, guys.
So I had a dream last night that was really encouraging. So I want to share it with you guys. I believe I'm being shown that the rapture's coming near to stay encouraged. And at first when I woke up, I was like, what am I dreaming? Like, I just didn't understand it. And the more we just sat down and talked about it, the more I realized I actually had a prophetic dream. So I do want to share it with you guys. And we're going to just kind of go with the flow with this and interpretate it while I'm telling you the dream this time and add in the scriptures that stuck out to us, and we'll just see how that goes. But before I start, I just want to show you, so when I'm talking about a space shuttle, I want you to visualize this, because this is what I'm talking about in the dream. This is what I was seeing, and it'll make sense here in a minute. But, just like the space shuttles, the rockets that astronauts go into and go to space. So with that said, at first when I had this dream, I was a little confused with the beginning part, because I knew the government was involved with this, and so I didn't know if this was like literal, like the government. But keep in mind, when I'm explaining this, I think I'm being shown that the government represents God. So just keep that in mind when I'm explaining this. So, okay. The first scene of this dream, there was about 12 to 16 children in front of me. I was sitting on a couch. I don't know the exact number of children, so I don't want to say it was only 12 to represent the tribes of Israel. It could have been 12. I'm just not totally aware of the number. It was just somewhere around that range of 12 to 16 children. There were males and females, and I knew they were somewhere around the age of 10 maybe. I knew they were young enough to be innocent, but it's like I was analyzing them on this couch. I was sitting there watching them, and I just had a knowing of this, that they were innocent, but it's like they did know about the evil in the world enough, but they just weren't partakers in it. So they were innocent, but not sinless. They knew about sin. So I had that knowing, and wherever I was at, observing these children, I knew it was like a special government place. Like I was involved in the government, which I'm not, okay? Don't start twisting that and call me the Illuminati or something. I'm not part of the government. I just
funny.
know there's going to be a comment. So,
part of God's government?
I'm part of God's government, okay? So, it's like whatever place I was in was like owned by the government, or
just like top secret.
It was a top secret facility kind of place. The people that were here knew hidden knowledge. We knew hidden things. It was top secret information. It was like CIA kind of just information. Like, it was not many people knew this information.
Like classified.
Classified. Good word.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were like, I just knew, I had a knowing of that. And then I knew also, as I'm watching these children, I knew that they were important to the government, that they were going to be put on a space shuttle, like this picture that I showed you, and that they were going to be taken somewhere. Now, it wasn't Mars or anything to like start humanity over, but I knew they were going to be taken somewhere. I just wasn't aware of where they were going to be taken. They were going to be taken somewhere and restart humanity, though. Like, they were going to have their lives saved when the world ended. They were going to start life over, these children. So, and the reason I say that is because just about that time, I saw explosions happening all around us. And like in front of the building, behind the building. I just knew that there was explosions going on all around us, but pretty far away. So it wasn't like right up in front of us. And I wasn't scared or anything, but I did start to pray at this point, and I was praying to God, and I was like, okay, you've shown me that I'm going to die possibly in an explosion, and I've told you guys this on my channel, that I've seen myself, like, I felt the explosion come at me, and I would say, take my spirit, and that would be the end of the dream. So I'm praying, and I'm like, you've shown me, God, that it's possible I'm going to die in an explosion. So if this is the moment that my dreams are going to come true, and this is when I'm going to die, please let it take my spirit quickly, and please let it be painless. So I'm praying this to him about dreams I've actually had in real life. And because I was seeing explosions, so I guess they were bombs, but I was seeing explosions all around us. And then I was also thinking at the same time, whoa, okay, these kids got to get on the shuttle, because if they don't get out of here, they're not going to be saved. The world's ending. Right. There's chaos ensuing, and we got to get these kids out of here, or the government's plans are going to fail. These kids will die. If a bomb hits us right now, we're all going to die. It's not just going to be me. It's going to be these kids too, and the plans will fail to get them on the shuttle. So we gotta get them on the shuttle. So I was thinking this in my head when that was going on also. So there's a few more scenes, but really quick, I just want to interpretate that part of the dream with these scriptures.
The kids, I feel like, represent the believers. And because over here, it's Matthew 18:3, and it says, "And said, Verily I say unto you, except you be converted and become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven." Well, you said that it was as if they, were innocent. They weren't
right, when you're born again.
Right, they weren't sinless.
Right.
But,
they were aware of sin, but they were still innocent.
Right. And so that's, that makes me think believers.
Right.
Us.
Right, because when we're born again, we become like babies. When you're born a second time, you're like a baby or a child. Right. So the Spirit of God indwelling in us makes us innocent.
Right.
He turns us innocent. He makes us like little children slowly but surely in our walks with him.
Also, Revelation 21 in verse 1, it says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea." And then if you skip on down to verse 5, it says, "And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new."
Right, so I think I was being shown that these children were being transported to the new heaven, the new earth.
Right, new life, because you said they were going to start new life.
Right.
And
they were going to save humanity, except it was more like they were going to be saved.
Right.
They were going to be transported to a safe location, which would represent the rapture.
Yeah. And
restarting life. They were going to restart life.
Right. The 1,000-year reign.
Right, which would be the next part would be the 1,000-year reign with Christ. Mm-hmm. So this next part of the dream will kind of tie into the first part of the dream, which is why I was getting that we were the believers, because I ended up on this space shuttle. Now, the best way I can describe this is like, okay, if you're at a ride at like Jurassic Park or something, the ride will have seats in it. And then the outside of it will have like a design, like maybe you'll be sitting in like a ride that looks like a dinosaur. So it kind of looked like an amusement park ride, but the ride looked like a space shuttle. So it looked just like the picture I showed you guys. And we were sitting in it. And the only difference is this shuttle wasn't like actually lifting off and going into space. It was on wheels, so it was kind of like just
like a bus.
Yeah, like a bus, like
those big charter buses.
Yeah, it was like a big, a fancy charter bus is how I would describe it, especially on the inside. We were totally covered, so the windows were tinted, and it was just really nice on the inside and comfortable. I was sitting in this bus, and we were driving I don't know where we were. It was in a city. There was a lot of people outside, and I think those people are representing the world. So they were sitting at bus stops and just walking on the streets. And these people were looking in at the bus, kind of like the world looks in, our non-believing families look in on our lives and analyze the change in us. I felt like that's what they were doing. They were looking in, and they knew something was peculiar. They knew something was special and different, and they looked up to us. These people outside of the bus were looking up to us in the bus, and it kind of made me uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable, and I'm sitting there, and I was thinking these thoughts, like, again, it's like a knowing, like, I just had information and like a download into my mind. But I was sitting in this bus, and I was thinking about how the first part of the dream, how the people in this bus had a special knowledge, how we were part
of the government, like the government access, classified,
high up,
high ranking.
Not many people. It's like we were part of the government, like literally on the, I don't know the right term, but like the cabinet or something.
Right.
Like you're just high up in government or something,
right.
And you know things that just normal people wouldn't know.
Right.
So
it goes back to the classified.
It goes back to the classified stuff. So I was sitting there actually thinking that, and I knew that these people outside the bus kind of knew that. Like we had hidden manna. That's what I'm gathering. And that's why I'm associating those children with us believers, because I ended up on that shuttle, and I knew that we had some kind of like access to the government, and that's when I started going, wait a minute, this government isn't like literal. Mm-hmm. This is for you Illuminati people. This isn't a literal government, but
right.
This is God. Like we have connection. We have a connection to God now,
right.
Because of what Jesus Christ did.
Right.
He tore the veil, and now all believers in Him have that access to God, that hidden manna. Right. So, what scripture do you think about with that?
It was 1 Peter in chapter 2, verses 9 through 10. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, an holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of Him who hath called you out of the darkness into His marvelous light. And the peculiar people, that's what you said. Like, they looked at us, like, we're the peculiar world. People, to the world, because we're
changed.
Yeah, we're new beings, and, people don't really know how to react to that, I guess.
Right.
So I think that's just really neat how that ties in.
Right.
Peculiar people.
Right.
That's what you saw.
Yeah. And then the end of that scene, also I saw other people in the same spaceship type bus transportation. And these people, though, were in a different vehicle. It was not covered. Like, I was like in an RV. So what I mean by not covered, it was just like they were just sitting in seats, but like if it rained, it would rain on them.
Sorry, open.
It was open to the outside air.
Right.
So and I feel like all of us are believers in this dream, and we're all on these spaceship transportations out of here. We're being transported, and I didn't know where we were going in this dream. I didn't know where the other people were going, but there was a lot of these, whatever you want to call them, spaceship
buses.
I don't know. There was a lot
they drive
of them.
And then they take off.
Right. They drive, and I guess they fly. I don't know. I didn't see the flying part, but
right.
But I'm assuming that's what was going to happen. We were being transported out of here, and so we were all believers. I just noticed there was a difference in the vehicles. Like, some were open to the atmosphere.
Right.
So I was thinking about that and the meaning behind that, Did you want to read it?
Yeah, and it goes into Matthew 13, verse 8. But other fell into good ground and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold.
So if we know that the seed planted is planted by Jesus, he's the sower in these parables, and that the seed sprouts some 30-fold, some 60-fold, some 100-fold. That means that some seed is going to be smaller than others, some's going to be bigger than others, some's going to produce more fruit than others. So it's not that they're not saved. All the seed is saved. They're all children of the kingdom. It's just some of us are going to be flourishing more, and and it comes down to each day. Sometimes we are the seed that's only 30-fold. Some days we're the seed that's 100-fold.
Right.
So it's just a matter of,
it's like keeping, like, you want to strive for the 100. We want to strive for 100 every single day, and that's the relationship with God. That's our relationship with Christ. And sometimes we do fall short, but it's just showing that, you are showing there's enclosed, there's unenclosed, but everybody's there.
Right. Everybody's getting taken out.
Right.
Some of us might have not had, I just feel like, there's a lesson in obedience to God.
Right.
When we're obedient and we're a willing vessel, we are blessed in our lives. So, like I said, not every day are we all going to be a willing vessel. I know there's many days where I'm kicking and screaming, and I don't want to be that vessel.
Right.
So there's some days when I only reap the fruit 30-fold, and there's other days when I'll reap 100-fold, and God's speaking to me more. The point is, the closer you are to God and the more you seek Him, ask and you'll receive, the more we're seeking Him, the more we're going to hear Him.
Right.
And there was a scripture that I wanted to say real quick, Deuteronomy 28, starting in verse 1, "And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all His commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth, and all these blessings shall come on thee, and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God." So if we seek His voice and we observe His commandments, and we seek after righteousness and we seek the Lord, He will rise us up. He will bless us, and these blessings will overtake thee. And it really just comes down to seeking the Lord in everything we do, listening for His voice, obeying His voice.
That's a big thing.
Right.
Like, it goes back to what you said, be a willing vessel.
Yeah, be a willing vessel, because not every day are we all willing vessels. And if we're not a willing vessel, we'll notice the lack of the Spirit that day.
Right.
Everybody does. If you're not listening to Him and seeking Him, you're not gonna feel Him. You're not gonna hear Him.
Right.
So it comes back to that seeking and willingness. And it says His blessings will overtake us. Like, we will be blessed. And I think that's up for interpretation, because there's a lot of prosperity gospel out there that will sit there and tell you that blessings are in the form of a Ferrari.
Right. No.
His blessings, in my opinion, are joy and happiness and peace and communication.
Right.
And
we're having a relationship. Like, that's
the blessing.
It is. We're having a relationship with God.
We have hidden manna.
Yeah.
That the rest of this world doesn't have. We have a spiritual creator that speaks to us. How is that not the blessing? Like, that is a blessing.
It's a blessing in itself.
I don't need a Ferrari. I just want God to talk to me. That's just...
Right. I just want a relationship with Christ. That's it.
Right. I just want Him to, take care of me and show me things. And, we have the Creator on our side. We know hidden things. We have hidden manna. Mm-hmm. So the more you seek Him, the more covered you're going to be. That's what I think I'm being shown. Some of us are saved and we're going in the rapture. They're just not as covered. And that comes from a willingness in our own lives to seek God. So I think it's a good lesson that if you're listening to this, are you producing 30-fold, 60-fold, or 100-fold? And your fruit production comes from the Holy Spirit. So it's not of your own works. It's Him working in you. So I think it's a lesson for us all to make sure that we are that willing vessel and we are producing that fruit 100-fold. And if we are willing to work in His kingdom, He's going to give us hidden manna. He's going to take care of us more and bless us more with a covering than, open to the wind and the rain.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then there was one other part of the dream that I wanted to explain, and I think I'm being shown that we're boarding the ark, and that's the most exciting part about this. And it had nothing to do with space shuttles in this part. What I saw was like a log fence made out of wood, and this fence just went on and on and on and on and on. And I don't know where we were. We were outside somewhere, and there was just hundreds of animals. And I want to say it was like the larger animals, like camels. I definitely noticed camels, and I noticed like cows or like rhinos, maybe like just big mammals. And I know there was people around, but I didn't like zone in on the people so much. I just noticed like a massive line of animals. There was hundreds of animals, and they were all in like not single file, but like there might have been like, well, maybe there was two. Like there's about two, maybe three, but like two next to each other. Wow. So and that's what the scriptures say when you're boarding Noah's Ark. He boarded, male and female. Yeah. So I want to say it was probably about two, not single line, but and I couldn't see because of trees, and there was like grassy hills in the distance. I couldn't see where they were going. I couldn't see the final destination, but I knew that this path was going through the trees and around this grassy hill, and so I knew that that's how long this line was. There was tons of mammals that I couldn't even see, and probably people. Like I said, I noticed maybe a couple of them, but I didn't zone in on them. So I got in line, and I got in line behind these big mammals. Like their butts were in my face. Like I don't know what they were, but and then like we're walking, and somehow my vision changes to like a room, and I see my dog in there, and her name's Riley, which is why my channel, you guys always ask that, which is why it was Rye, because when I first started, just I had a YouTube just for the heck of it, I named it Rye because of her. Anyways, her name's Riley, and so I'm like, Riley, come here. And so, it didn't make sense. I'm like outside in a line, but somehow I had a vision of inside of a room, right. And she runs out of this room, and she jumps into the line into my arms, and I'm holding her in this line, and we're in line. And that's it. That was it.
So cool.
So I know that's like Noah's Ark.
Yeah, that's loading the ark. I mean, that is just so awesome. And yeah, in Genesis 7 and 9 is what you were talking about, and they went into Noah, into the ark, and the male and the female, and God had commanded Noah. That's so
yeah,
neat.
Noah loaded the animals by twos, I guess.
Yeah.
So
it sounds like the ark is getting ready to depart.
It sounds like we're loading the ark right now, and we're in line. And then further on, after what he just read, it talks about the floods coming.
Right.
So that would represent tribulation starting.
Yeah.
So that was it, guys. So I hope this encourages you guys. Like I'm being shown like the children of the kingdom are getting ready to load that spaceship, and maybe we might see something like bombs. I don't know, guys. We might see some kind of destruction a little bit right before we leave. I'm not sure. But then I was shown we were transported out of here, and all believers are going. As long as you put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ, you are going in the rapture. You're saved. So, you're not saved by your works. So I don't want anybody saying, oh, well, you had better works than the people that were in the uncovered vehicle. It's not about that. They were still saved. Their rewards in heaven might be affected by that, but they were still saved. So we're not perfect. None of us are perfect, and neither am I. So I think we all need to realize that, and go back to the true gospel of grace, and that we're saved by our faith and trust in Jesus Christ. So
I guess we'll leave it at that, guys. If any interpretations, anything else comes up, definitely let us know. We're always happy to talk to you guys. All right. Well, y'all have a good night. Love y'all.
Thanks, guys.